Hey everyone, this is Sam Gold from NFL Breakdowns, and today we're partnering with FieldGoals.com to talk about one of the best skill position matchups of the 2015 season. This matchup that I'm referring to is none other than the Steelers' top wide receiver Antonio Brown versus Seahawks' top cornerback Richard Sherman. Coming into this game, Antonio Brown was on fire. He collected over 400 yards and 2 touchdowns in his previous 2 games versus the Raiders and the Browns. The mission was clear: have Sherman shade Brown's side of the field the vast majority of the game and cover him man-to-man occasionally from the slot. In the first quarter alone, Brown was targeted 6 times, pulling in 2 of them for 17 yards. The first completion was on a tunnel screen to Brown with Heath Miller blocking for him. The play goes for 2 yards, since the Seahawks are in cover 2-man under defense, with the cornerbacks playing bump and run coverage on the line of scrimmage. Honestly, I'm more impressed Brown was still able to get those 2 yards, as KJ Wright almost tackled him in the backfield after he received the pass. The second completion was a 15-yard pass on a timed hitch pattern by the left sideline. Brown takes an outside release driving up the field. Sherman sticks with Brown thinking he's driving deep on a go route and looks back towards the quarterback. At this point, Brown turns to catch Roethlisberger's pass, creating a cushion for him to gain 4 yards after the catch. Brown's footwork at the top of his route is impeccable. He sinks his hips while trying to stay balanced, and he's able to control his body to come to a complete stop after 4 quick steps. Most receivers will take 5 steps or 4 large ones to turn, so the quicker you can turn like Antonio Brown does, the better it is, as it buys you extra time after he catches the ball. Going to the pocket, let's take a look at Roethlisberger's footwork on the throw. It's a quick 3-step drop to maintain rhythm in the pass that has to come out before Brown turns to stay on schedule. Roethlisberger uses the 3 steps to turn his hips towards the wide receiver to set up the throw. While the pass is a little bit outside, it's thrown with perfect anticipation. By watching them on these routes, you can tell how much they practice these timing patterns to get them down into this level of perfection. From Sherman's perspective, this is nearly an impossible route to cover. Now, before I mentioned that Brown was targeted 6 times in the first quarter. Officially, Brown was only credited for 5, as Michael Bennett was caught offsides on this incompleted pass up the sideline. Now, Roethlisberger knows that he has a free play. He knows that even if he throws an ugly interception, the team gets 5 yards at a minimum, so there's no reason not to take a shot deep down the field. This is what makes other quarterbacks so good, like Packers' Aaron Rodgers. He uses hard fakes to draw players off sides for free plays. After the penalty, Roethlisberger heaves the pass downfield, and when people tell you that a perfect pass beats perfect coverage, this is exactly what they're talking about. The ball is placed right into the outstretched arms of Brown in an incredibly small window. Brown is able to catch the pass initially, and the only reason it was an incompletion was due to Earl Thomas placing a perfectly timed hit on Brown's right arm, which dislodges the pass. The Steelers obviously accept the 5 yards and move on, and officially this play never exists, but it was still incredible to watch nonetheless. For Brown's 6th official target of the game, the Steelers run a flat curl combo on the bottom of your screen. This cover 3 sky defense features Cam Chancellor attacking the offensive right flat, while the outside cornerbacks are playing the deep thirds. Brown's goal on his curl route is to find the space between the left underneath zones and underneath the deep left zone. Sherman, however, keeps his eyes in the backfield and understands the route combination of the receivers to drive on the pass to deflect it out of Brown's hands. This play shows exactly what it takes to be a top-tier cornerback in the NFL. He studied enough tape to recognize the concept, and then drove on this high percentage underneath pass. A couple of deep shots down the sideline, a couple of short passes to get the ball into Brown's hands, and the first quarter was the back-and-forth matchup that we were all promised. Unfortunately for the Steelers, after this quarter ended, it didn't remain that way. While most of Brown's yards came in the second half, roughly half of them Sherman was not covering Brown. For example, in Brown's 9th official target, Brown initially is lined up opposite of Sherman, but the Steelers motion him across the line of scrimmage. Sherman does not follow, and the defense shifts instead, signaling zone coverage for the quarterback. The Seahawks drop into the same cover 3 sky defense. The Steelers run a dual hitch flat combo designed to stretch the exact defense and create a hole. Roethlisberger finds Brown open underneath Deshaun Shed for the 11-yard gain. In the fourth quarter, the Seahawks were running the same cover 3 sky alignment, playing pattern match on the outside receivers. For those that don't know, pattern match defense is a mixture of man principles and zone principles meant to eliminate the obvious holes of your standard zone drop-back defense. At the bottom of your screen, Brown releases outside and up the sideline on his streak route. From the wide angle, it appears like Brown trips, which gives Sherman a free shot at the interception. He pulls in the pass uncontested and runs the ball back 20 yards for Brown to get up and dive at his legs to take him down. Looking at the broadcast angle, it's clear that Brown attempts to swipe away Sherman's hands, but Sherman shoves him mid-route by the 30-yard line. This caused him to lose balance. Now I'm all for fair play, and in my opinion this is defensive pass interference, but the officials and even the broadcast booth all originally thought Brown just tripped. Nothing more to say about it. Sherman actually had a second interception in the game, but it occurred on a 2-point conversion attempt. From a film standpoint, this is clearly a forced pass to a covered receiver right before he gets hit. I honestly don't fault Roethlisberger for throwing it, since a sack and incompleted pass result in the same thing here, which is an unsuccessful conversion attempt. To complete the picture, we also need to look at some of the plays where Brown was not targeted to see if he was actually open and Big Ben just missed him. After careful study of all the offensive plays in the game, in the non-targets, Sherman clearly won the battle. This is a prime example on a go route versus Seahawks cover 4 defense that happened in the second quarter. The Steelers have trips bunch on the left, putting Sherman in solo or lock coverage on Brown. In a cover 4 system, the solo lock call means that Sherman plays the entirety of the play as if it's man-to-man coverage, even though technically it's a cover 4 defense with 4 deep defenders. Watching the two at the top of your screen, Brown gets no separation. I really only saw 2 opportunities for Brown to get a potential completion, and one was on this hitch route. Sherman has good coverage initially, but Brown breaks free. The pressure on Roethlisberger forced him to throw the ball to another receiver, even though you can read his body language that he really wanted to pass to Brown. In this next play, Brown runs a seam between zones, but the pressure gets to Roethlisberger, so he decides to pass to do his check down. The route just took too long to develop in the face of danger. The final score of this game was a shootout, but that was mainly because Marcus Wheaton gained over 200 yards, including the 69-yard touchdown pass. The Seahawks are in cover 2 man under with 2 deep safeties, while the cornerbacks play man-to-man coverage. Defensive back Jeremy Lin gets turned inside by Wheaton's inside release. Normally, in this coverage one of the safeties, either Earl Thomas or Cam Chancellor, would assist, but Earl Thomas gets trapped in no man's land, while Cam Chancellor gets pulled outside after seeing Roethlisberger look towards Martavis Bryant on the sideline. Wheaton accelerates past Lane, aiming for the deep right portion of the field. Roethlisberger scrambles outside the pocket and throws the ball deep, but leaves it slightly short. Lane almost deflects it, but Wheaton pulls it in and jogs to the end zone for the score. This game featured one of the best matchups in the NFL, with 2 top-tier players at their respective positions, but it was ultimately dominated defensively by Richard Sherman, who showed incredible instincts in space with suffocating press coverage the entire game. And this also extended to other Steelers receivers. Check out this slant pass to Martavis Bryant that Sherman read and broke up as well. This is why Richard Sherman became one of the highest paid defensive players in the NFL back in 2014, earning $14 million per year. He's just that good. Now the Steelers and the Seahawks won't see each other next year unless they meet in the Super Bowl, but each has a premier matchup in Week 1 of the regular season next year, with Antonio Brown facing Josh Norman against the Redskins and Richard Sherman facing Jarvis Landry of the Dolphins. Needless to say, these matchups will be excellent to dive deeper into. Well, that's it for me. Subscribe to my channel for my next video breakdown. You can find me on Twitter at SamuraiGold, and if you want to support my work with a donation, follow the link to my Patreon account on the screen.